All right, this is the WIKISPEED stand-up for 2015, April 16th. And what I was able to get done last week was I added some info about the Android camera app to the Carica card in the WIKISPEED online board. Um, there's I think we discussed this last week, Michael, but there's an app that seems to have most of the features, even in the free version that we wanted. So I added a link to that on the card associated to it, and that's been moved to the WikiSpeed online board. Let's see. I invited. I guess there was a email thread about this. I think it's called the CanTac board, which is like a board you use to um, interact with the CAN system on in the automotive electronics. So I went ahead and invited that developer of that board to join the team and see if there was anything we could do to help him with development. Let's see. I made a change to the join the team form email submission back to a way I had it set up previously. Um, so the way it was set up then, there will in very specific cases, we will lose a couple of email submissions. Like we'll never get it to our email box. Um, but the way that I had set it up last, every email will come in, but the automated system will not reply. So I set it back to the way where we might, in certain occasions, not get a submission, but that's fixed by the fact that there's a plugin that's capturing those submissions to the database on the website. So periodically we can compare and say, okay, we didn't get these two submissions over this 3 month period. Let's reach out to those people specifically and go from there. So it seems like the best setup for what we have to deal with. Um, I guess I did just a little maintenance on the website. I updated 8 plugins in WordPress, and then I know there was another thing I did for WikiSpeed. I didn't write it down, and I cannot remember what it is now. But other than that, I did a little. I've been working on trying to get my garden ready. I'm about 2 weeks behind. Kind of snuck up on us this year. As soon as the freeze was done, it rained almost nonstop, and then everything bloomed real fast. So I'm actually about 2 weeks behind where I should be. So I've been trying to get my soil ready and do some organic gardening. For next week, I'm a little lost in what I should be doing next. So the only thing I have on my list is to go back over some of my previous stand-ups because I always write them down and save them and see some tasks that maybe I've missed or haven't gotten to done and find out what's the most important next thing to go ahead and get to done. And for blocks, the only thing is I don't see a lot of action or interaction in Carica, so it's kind of a block for me just because that's being a part of the distributed team. It's the only that in the forum is the only real interaction I have with the work that's being done. So that wraps it up for my last week, next week, and any blocks. Um, so did you want to go ahead, Michael?
Sure. Um, Last week I was, and I guess next week I'll be working on testing this AC controller. It's not directly a WikiSpeed project, but it's something that I hope we can use when we get it tested. It's a fair bit less expensive than the commercially available controllers for starting an electric motor. Um, I've run into some. Well, you run into trouble when you're testing, no matter what. So right now, we're working through with the developer, trying to figure out why I can't get the motor to spin. Um, and that will continue here next week. I hope to have some results, at least a video to post. Right now, I could post a video, but it would be quite boring as I bang my head against the wall and try and get through various problems. Um, Blocks, I don't think I have any blocks. I was hoping Joe was going to be on the line so I could ask him about whether the suspension was going to be ready to ship to me. But I haven't been able to contact or meet up with him. The meeting's on here, he's not, and vice versa. And that's about it for me, I guess. Rob, do you want to go next?
Sure. Uh, Last week I checked the tag on the part that I received the bearing. And found out there's another piece in the order, and with the tag right now, I'm just changing some of the tag to make it less costly to produce. Um, Next week I intend to order laser cutting and the last part for the engine module, the electric engine module, and blocks I have no blocks.
Alrighty. Um, so I guess that brings us to retrospective and process improvement. So I'll go first. That I don't know. I'll say like a 4 for me. I didn't spend hardly any time on WikiSpeed stuff this week, or last week for that matter, and maybe like an 8 for the team. There's still always discussion every week going through the forum, which is super awesome. But there's just not as much maybe interaction with all the teams that are actually doing real work, and I like to see that. So my process improvement would be for maybe for anyone that's interested in exploring more about core Scrum and maybe developing Scrum best practices for distributed teams. I just want to invite anybody to use the WikiSpeed Online Carica board um, for that goal. If anybody's interested in that, maybe that would be something that would be neat for people. And that would be it for me. So who wanted to go next?
I'll go next. Um, Retrospective. Well, I didn't do much last couple of weeks because of work anyway. This week I didn't get a, I give myself, seven, verify and find out the solution. And see, I haven't really got too much what's going on with me. I haven't heard anything either. I'll give it a seven. Possibility, I do not have a process improvement.
All right. Your connect. I don't know if it's your connection or maybe your microphone, but it's a little difficult to hear what you're saying, Rob.
Okay. Maybe it's the mic. Oh, could be the
Oh, you know what?
microphone.
When you get closer, it sounds way better.
Yeah. I
Oh,
think I have
that's
the
that's
microphone
that's
dialed
damn near
off.
perfect. Okay.
Okay. Well, do you want me to redo what I did, or re-say what I did, or?
Yeah, well, I don't. Let's ask Michael. I had trouble hearing both parts of it. I picked up some of the things. So, is that okay with you, Michael? If he kind of
Yeah, I would say repeat would be great because then I could catch all of it.
okay, awesome.
Okay.
Yes, let's do that.
So, not all of it, right? I'm just repeating the retrospective, right?
That's fine. Whatever you want to do. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Retrospective. It was a seven for myself. Didn't get much done last couple weeks because of paying work, and a seven for the team because I haven't seen much of anything. So I haven't heard nothing from really from Linwood. So I have to give it a seven. Process improvement. I do not have one, of course.
Okay. Okay, cool deal. That sounded way better. Yes. Awesome.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to give myself a 5 because again I haven't done a whole lot. I'm going to agree with about a 7 for the team because things are still happening. I'm sure they're happening in the background, but there's no publicity of it, so it's kind of hard to get excited about it. The process of improvement, I think, would the any progress on that app for the Android or the iPhone would be awesome. And I didn't check the Carica board. I kind of forgot about it. So I will go here right afterwards and see if I can get it running on one of my Android machines. And perhaps I might steal my wife's iPhone and see if it runs on that. Um, anyway, that should be about it, I guess.
Awesome. Well, I think that wraps up all the essential ceremonies. So that takes us to any open discussion or cross banter. Which I'll kick us off real quick, Michael. Yeah, so I don't. It's on the deal about that app is on the online board, probably under like doing or in process, whatever it's called, for the card related to that. It shouldn't be too hard to find. I put it right in the description. So
Okay.
cool. And hey, this AC controller that you're using now, so you burnt one up, right? Like like one of them broke. Yes.
The controller for my car,
Yes.
um, I I broke it. I don't know what part exactly I broke, but yeah, it's a $3,000 controller, and I cooked it.
So,
Oh,
but the one you're testing now is an open source AC
Yes.
controller. What's the price tag on it?
Um, well, it's a beta machine right now, so they don't really have good firm pricing.
Right.
But the parts were about $1,000.
Okay. Okay.
So this one, so far, like if it tests out to what the specs say, it'll drive anything short of a dragster.
Okay. Was it a kit you had to build yourself or something? Was that the
What it was designed by a guy called Paul Holmes.
okay?
He's actually out just outside of Mesa, Arizona, and he did the design. It's kind of a hobby of his. It's similar to what he does at work. So he designed the board, and he had posted on EcoModer about looking for beta testers.
Okay, I remember
And I
the threads
stuck
about
up my
this.
hand and said, "Yeah, I can do that."
Okay. Okay. Was the, and
So
the designs were also released open source. If it does seem to
yeah,
work out, it can be produced off of those plans. Does it have
and
any?
one third of this particular machine would be useful as a DC controller.
Okay. Does it have any just known limitations over like the commercial controller that you had?
The commercial controller had a little bit wider voltage range, and it was a whole lot pickier about the sequence that everything powered up. And if anything went wrong, it basically shut down and said, "Give a blink code," and you were kind of faced with having to tow your car home.
Which could be a good
The
thing
open
given
source,
certain circumstances, though, right? I mean, depending on what
well,
it's trying to cook.
if you're trying to, or if you've got three different contactors and three different big switches, and you know that one of them is broken, then you can acknowledge something or have a time delay or something.
Right.
You don't have you shouldn't have to call a tow truck, right? With the open source controller, it's a little bit pickier with the voltage,
I
and
see.
it can't limit the voltage to the motor. Um, it can limit the current, but whatever voltage you put in, that's what comes out. So it's anyway.
Okay, but for a third of the price and the fact that it's open source and can those features could be added later. I mean, it sounds like it may be just perfect. So
Yeah, it sounds like a very good idea. So
cool.
I'm hoping it's gonna work out. And Rob will be happy to know that it will drive a brushless DC motor. So if you happen to have a motor that needs 600 volts and 1200 amps, we can probably do it for you.
I think, yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So your linkage is going okay, Rob? You had CAD some stuff up, and you got everything to fit together.
Yeah, I got everything to fit together. Now I'm uh, just there's some parts that like for the pulley to the rotor, some parts like that that have to be made just to interface all that stuff together. And the aluminum's pretty thick, and so I'm doing what Joe did, like trying to get it down so that I use 1/4 inch plate, stack it and bolt them together.
Make it modular.
Some of these pieces, because otherwise it's going to cost a whole lot. Just the aluminum itself for one of the pieces would be like $62 without
Yeah.
it even being machined. So I'm trying to cut those costs down.
Yes, billet aluminum is expensive.
Yeah, yeah, especially yeah, odd sizes and large diameters. But yeah, now just everything fits together now. I just have to slice those up into quarter-inch pieces and still do a little machining, but I can do the machining at my shop, small scale. Just can't do the large billet machining. But it's going together, and I should be able to order the laser cutting, but that'll take 2 weeks once I put the order in, and then I just get the rest of the parts from McMaster Car, the man.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got some killer tapered bearings and some other cool stuff. Oh, and I figured out how to do the splines. I think what I'm going to do is uh see if I can find a broken transmission and grab the take it apart and use the spline that where the spline's going from the shaft to the transmission. Take that piece out and weld on some steel to it that can bolt to the main pulley. That's how I'm going to do it, I think.
I'm confused. You're using the transmission side, or you're using the CV side that connects to the wheel?
Transmission side is what I need.
Hmm.
Although, did you tell me that the splines are the same on each side?
They're not the same on each end. They're the same between several different years of the transmission.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Now, let's see if I can find a broken transmission. I guess I'm not sure how they're where that spline is hooked to. Maybe the differential area of the transmission. But surely I can find a broken one and take it apart and use that piece somehow, the spline, and weld on a piece of metal with a flange that can bolt to the pulley. That's what I'm hoping.
Okay, do you have that much room?
Yeah.
Because
Oh, there's plenty
the
of
CV
room.
axles are sticking out the side, right?
Yeah.
And normally on a regular car, there's only about 6.5, 7 inches in between the two splines on the transmission.
Right.
And with the WIKISPEED car being wider, there's probably, I don't know, a foot, not quite a foot and a half. So you're gonna fit one going one way and one going the other way in that space.
No, no, no. No, it's made so that right now I'm only doing one side, power one side of the motor.
Oh, okay, okay.
And then if this works out well enough, we can put another motor on the other side. And the way it was designed is that it would use the short axle for both sides.
Okay.
So yeah, that way you can do all kinds of funny stuff with the computer with it. Controlling both uh, boards of the computer on like how traction control, and spinning
Okay.
one side a little faster than the other side, control your grip on the road or something like that. I don't know.
All right. Okay. Now I understand.
Yeah, I'm just looking for the spline piece inside the transmission. Nothing more. Not the differential or anything else. Just the spline, the part that interfaces with the axle, and then cut that to pieces.
I'm not sure. Well, I'm sure you can get it from a junkyard.
Yeah.
Um, I happen to have a transmission that's not feeling very well here, but shipping would take a while.
Oh yeah, yeah. Have
And,
you ever
and
have you taken one of those things apart ever?
no, I haven't.
There's lots of
And that
pieces.
would be the second challenge, of course.
Yeah.
Lots of pieces.
Yeah.
Well,
It'll be like a
since,
watch.
since he's only looking for a couple of pieces and they're fairly big, I shouldn't lose those.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, that would be if you didn't want that transmission anymore and I'm going to get rid of it. I would definitely take that, however that spline fits in or whatever the piece is. I would take that.
Well, I'll. The transmission doesn't sound good, but it still runs.
Yeah.
So
Was it
maybe not in the short term, maybe in a little longer term.
sure? Well, who knows? I got 2 weeks to wait on laser cutting, and then who knows what other problems might occur. So
Yeah, when you're hooking the flywheel up to these transmissions, you have to balance everything and tighten it down a little bit, and it, it takes a
yeah,
long time.
I'm sure. Huh.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, but I can't. How far have you got on the beta on that controller? I guess. Are you have you hooked it up to anything yet, or?
I've got it. I've got it hooked up to a pack. Pre-charge works. I've got an accelerator kind of thing. It's just a pot with a couple of extra resistors hooked
Right.
up to the throttle. Hard to keep your hand that consistent on the throttle.
All right.
And right now, the controller is talking on the serial connection to my laptop. I'm trying to do it's called a tune, where the controller kind of figures out a couple things about the motor, kind of the inertia, what kind of current it can put through it, that kind of stuff.
Right.
When I start that test, it just kind of goes away and doesn't come back. So I don't know whether it's waiting for me to do something else or whether one of the signals that I'm giving it is out of range. There's an encoder on it that is supposed to show you the spin, but right now I got the shaft locked. It's not supposed to turn during this test,
Right.
so
Does the
I'm sure it's not that.
does the
But
software have any kind of error log? Because I mean, it could be something as simple as like a driver on the computer side that's locking it up. Does it have any kind of error log
uh,
available?
what it is a microchip DS PIC is what it's running, and the debugger is an integrated development environment on the PC.
Okay.
So what I've got is a hex file that I load into the controller, and I don't actually I can't build the source code because I'm missing part of the C compiler. Apparently they don't sell it anymore.
Uh,
Um, we have to do a little bit of an upgrade in order for me to be able to compile.
I see.
But it's a source level debugger. Normally it would show you exactly where it's waiting, but unfortunately I can't build the thing without a few pages of errors. So
Oh.
we're taking baby steps.
Oh yeah. Oh, it sounds fucking amazing though.
Yeah. How curious? How big is the controller? About.
About 16 inches long,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 8 or 9 inches wide, and 4 or 5 inches tall. Weighs maybe 20 pounds.
20 pounds. Heat sinks on it.
There's a big, about a half-inch aluminum plate on the bottom, and
Okay.
you can drill and tap that to connect. The idea is that you either hook a big set of fins to it and
Right.
blow a bunch of air, or you hook up a liquid heat sink and bolt it onto that big piece of aluminum.
Okay. Cool.
And as far as I can tell, you may have to submerge it in oil or some other coolant in order to run this puppy up
Cool.
to its maximum specs. Because I
Okay.
don't know how I'm going to get all this heat away from the transistors.
Yeah. The transistors. How
Well,
many
that's
transistors are on there?
There's 3 packs, so there's 6 total,
Okay.
and they're all rated for 1200 amps and 600 volts.
Wow.
So
Scary.
you need to give it a little bit of headroom. Like you can't run it up to 600. You probably run it up to 3 or 275 or something like that, just in case you got some spikes. But
All
in
right.
terms of the current, apparently 1200 is reasonable if you can get the heat away.
just don't touch it. It's pure evil.
I I burnt up so many power transistors making the power boxes or power circuits.
Well, and that's as far as I can tell, the design is a little bit of science and a lot of voodoo in order to get it in order to get it work reliably. That's kind of what Paul does as a day job, so he's pretty good at it. I don't really expect that to be not to be a problem. The other stuff around it may be, but
That's awesome. Can't wait to hear it works. Like works
Oh,
perfect.
that'll be yeah,
well,
super
I only
super
got it
awesome.
hooked up to a 5 horsepower motor right now. Um, I'm going to be hooking it up to a larger Siemens motor when I get some stuff worked out.
Yeah.
I think I can use the DC motor on the WIKISPEED car. I think I can use that to drive the AC motor and give it a load and stuff like that. So
Huh.
I hope so. Anyway.
Hey, I saw on I can't. It was on TV. I don't know what the show is called, but they converted a Porsche 911 with a Warp 9 motor.
Yeah, that's fairly common. Joe had been talking about direct driving with a couple of Warp 9s. A couple of Warp 9s in the back of a WIKISPEED car. That's a lot of power.
Yeah, it's a huge motor, man. I was looking on the TV. It's just huge.
Well, there's I mean, it's got all its torque on the bottom end too. So.
Yeah. Yeah. They just shifted in fourth gear and drove it like that. Is all they did.
Yeah, you can kind of use it like an automatic transmission, just a single speed gearbox.
That was pretty cool. Cool. Well, that's it for me.
Yeah, I think that's kind of it for me. You guys done talking?
Uh, yeah, pretty much. My wrap up comment will be: you guys are man of science and awesome. That the open discussion was fucking amazing. And also for you, Michael, what the one of your blocks is it suspension modules you're waiting for, or is it I should be better at remembering this, but you're waiting for
Yeah,
suspension modules, right?
I had asked for some suspension modules actually probably 2 years ago now.
Okay. Do you have Joe's like cell phone number?
Oh yeah.
Just text
Um,
him. He'll reply within about 30 minutes. You know.
no, it's not that big a deal.
Well, that's the right.
If you guys, if they have the parts on hand, then they can make it and send it out. If they don't have the parts on hand and we're waiting for another rev, then it'll be another rev, right?
I'm just saying if it becomes that much of a priority, I mean, you can text him and it'll be taken care of as soon as possible. So,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, I think does that wrap it up for everybody?
Yeah.
All right.
My buzz has already been kicking in for a long time now, so.
Yeah, I got the 151 going on tonight myself.
Oh, really? Yeah. I'm drinking moonshine and ginger beer. It's an interesting
Oh,
mix.
that sounds awesome.
It's been working out pretty good. I didn't start that long ago. That's how well it's been working out.
I gotta get some
All
of
right,
that.
guys.
All right. Y'all have a good
Okay.
evening. It's been great hanging out with you again.
All right, man. See y'all.
All right.
Bye.